All right, just one other topic I want to touch on with Joe is I used to love to read. You know, it was great for so many years. The two sports columnists in Newsday were Joe Gergen and Steve Jacobson, both from Long Beach. I've known them both. They're both great guys, and I love their columns. But Joe, you look at the last 20 years in New York, it's always been a Yankee town. I think it's turning. I think it's the Mets' turn. I think the Yankees are an old, broken down team. Their whole pitching staff is coming off surgeries, whereas I think the Mets have a chance to be really great with their 5 young starters. And I think we're on the verge of New York finally, after about 20 years, being a Met town. Your thoughts, Joe?
Only if they win, and they win quickly. Because if they get off to another slow start, people are going to just pack them in and say, here they go again. And they've added very little to what they had, what they grew in the farm system. They got a nice farm system, they got some pitching, but they don't add any other pieces to it. I think it's going to be disappointing. I think they're building themselves up to be a little better than they are at this point.
You think they're putting a little too much pressure, Joe? Because, you know, on paper, you look at Harvey, who looks great. You look at DeGrom, you look at Wheeler, you look at, Syndergaard, you look at, the pitchers that they have, the young pitchers they have, they look great. But I think it's going to come down to they're going to hit enough. Are we going to get a better production out of Curtis Granderson? Is David Wright going to bounce back? Is Lucas Duda going to be consistent again? So I think the real question is, are they going to hit?
Well, we don't know. We also don't know if they're going to field. They got a pretty bad double play combination right there. I mean, I just think none of these pitchers have gone through a full season yet. We're going to have successful full season. So I think 2 or 3, though, I think it'll probably be fine. I don't think all 5 are going to make it through. I don't think this is the next coming of Seaver, Kuzma, and that group. I think they can be good, but if they have to get defense and they have to get winning. You're right about that. But I don't know if these owners are going to add players yet either. That's another thing we won't know. If they really get into a good start and maybe become contenders, let's see if they'll spend the money to do something more than that.
That would be good. Because let's turn to the Yankees for a second. You got a team, I think, and Joe, you can chime in if you want. I think the Yankees really, they could be really good. But there's a lot of ifs. If Pineda is healthy, if Teixeira comes back strong, if Beltran, returns to form, you don't know what you're going to get from A-Rod. But it just seems that there's a lot of old players you're counting on, guys like McCann and Beltran and Teixeira, A-Rod. It just seems that it's a lot to ask from players that have really been broken down a lot the last several years.
Well, yeah, that's true. I mean, listen, this is going to be the first time without Jeter. It's the first time they're going in without a personal star player that people are going to want to see. Now, maybe some of these guys will come back and do it again. I think maybe Teixeira, hopefully he's the youngest of the group. But if they just get average years out of them, they'll be a contender again. But they're not going to stand out like they did. Baltimore, Boston again, they're changing so many things. We don't know how it's going to work.
Toronto.
I don't think there is a clear leader in that division. I think the Yankees will be in contention, but can they win 90 games? I doubt it with what they have.
Yeah.
But then again, if they have a shot at something, they'll get somebody during the season. That's why I question the Mets in that situation.
Absolutely.
How committed they're going to be to actually improving.
All right. So the great columnist Joe Gergen says, "Let the Mets prove it on the field first," and that's a good sentiment because, as they say, talk is cheap. A lot of people talk about playoffs. Let's see him start winning some games and let him be in contention. Let's have a round of applause to Joe Gergen.
Yeah.
And Larry, good job defending Wilt. All right. Thanks for everything, folks, and more sports coming up next week.